Hello, welcome to Season 2, Episode 14 of You Are My Oxford podcast, of course, supported by Nutmeg, the nostalgic football game from Secret Mode. Dan, we're going to have to actually talk about on-field matters again, aren't we?
We are going to have to, because we've only blooming well got ourselves a new manager to talk about.
That's exciting, isn't it? And two new signings and an accidentally leaked list of targets.
We've also got an FA Cup win to talk about. We haven't had one of those for a while.
Plus, Theo's done a bit of a deep dive into Oxford United AI.
Matt, it's me against you in the John Narbett game.
The big one. And on the script here, Dan, because, of course, this is the first time I'm reading this, it says we have a first anniversary quiz.
We do indeed. All that and more, Matt. Let's crack on quickly. We have a new manager, Matt. After what seemed quite a long wait, with new favourites emerging each day, it seemed, on Friday it was announced that it's ex-Wycombe and Luton Town manager Matt Bloomfield. Nice for him at last to get a chance to manage a big club, I suppose. How are you feeling that?
I'm excited, Dan, I'm not going to lie. Dan, I asked you, I think it was in the last pod, what type of manager we wanted to replace Rowett, and I kind of put it on you. Would you like someone who was brought in kind of solely to keep us up at all costs, win at all costs, or someone with a bit more of an eye on the future, likely maybe not to keep us up, but put us in a strong position, hopefully, to then rebuild in the summer and put us in a good position to come back up from League One? And I'll be honest with you, Dan, I think we've got the best of both worlds in some ways. Let's start with a few positives about the signing of Matt Bloomfield. Firstly, he plays attacking football, apparently, which after a year of Rowett, I think kind of everyone is kind of up for. And actually, I think we have a few players to play a bit more of an attacking game. Secondly, he seems like a genuinely good bloke. And I know this doesn't really matter in a football manager, but people in the game seem to say that he cares about players, he cares about the club, he cares about the fans. And honestly, I think that's quite important. We've got quite an honest bunch of players, I think. And I think what that means is that everyone will push in the right direction. There won't be too much friction between kind of big names and big egos and all that kind of thing. And also, Dan, and I think this is very important, this appointment stops us from being that club that we often talk about, I think. Honestly, if we'd gone down the Russell Martin or the Will Still route, I think we were in danger of becoming that club. Because let's be honest, they would have viewed Oxford as like a bit of a stopgap to help maybe rebuild their reputation before going on to something bigger. So this kind of feels right. And what I'm excited about is we are not a basket case club at the moment. We are not cut adrift at the bottom. We have winnable games in the next couple of months. We have an honest group of players, as I said, who you imagine will want to push in the right direction. We have a group of players who give a shit, and I think the new manager will come in, tease out the best of them, and I'm feeling a bit confident about it. And something that is overlooked often, and I think is quite important, he lived and worked in Wycombe for years, so obviously he knows the area fairly well. It's not too much of a big family upheaval or anything like that. With Rowett, obviously he was so rigidly based in Derbyshire, so it always felt a bit temporary. With Bloomfield, I'm hoping we can view this as a bit of a long-term fix. Listen, I know a lot of people are underwhelmed by his signing, but genuinely, I'm excited and pleased we went for him over all those names we mentioned: Sheehan, Still, Martin, Rooney, Manning. But Dan, what do I know? But I believe you have been speaking to people who do actually know.
Yeah, that's right. I've been doing a little bit of research into Matt Bloomfield. I've tapped into the knowledge of a friend of a friend. And a friend, actually, as well. So that's one Wycombe fan and one Luton fan. I was expecting very different views from each of them, but actually there were some themes. Let's start with Luton Ross, a Luton fan, obviously with a name like that. Kindly, he gave his assessment in a voice note, which I'm going to play now.
If I was going to be generous, I'd say Bloomfield was probably right coach, wrong time. I think he actually is like a quite talented coach. Ironically, we probably needed a bit more of a Gary Rowett new manager bounce type, just get us away from the relegation zone of the Championship last season, long enough for us to spend the oodles of cash we've got and rebuild our our squad, and didn't work in Bloomfield's favour either. We should have rebuilt as soon as we went down. So he inherited this kind of hodgepodge of people, half of whom probably didn't want to be there. But anyway, he didn't win his first 8 games. That wasn't great. And he was a bit sort of single-minded about how he wanted to play. And then suddenly became a pragmatist and switched to a back 5. And to be fair to him, last 12 games of the championship season, but one, which was the last one when we lost 5-3 and we were fucking awful, we were the 3rd best team in the league on form. And we went down by a point. So like everything could be very different if we just turned up on the last day of the season against West Brom. It was just a weird one. Like, I think everyone sort of was like, yeah, he seems like a decent coach, but nobody was particularly disappointed when he finally got sacked. Like, he oversaw a pretty woeful summer transfer window. You know, that was his chance to rebuild, and what he left us with was like quite a weirdly unbalanced squad. Like, he seems quite obsessed with fast direct forwards. Basically, he likes a lot of forwards. He likes to like have loads of choice up there. Doesn't seem to be a lot of focus on creativity or anything through the middle of the park. Like, it was so stark. Wilshire's first game, like, so noticeable when we suddenly started like immediately playing through the middle of the park again. I was like, oh god, yeah, I've forgotten that we just stopped doing that completely. I think the jury's still out on him, basically, and it's, you know, it's fair to say he's a young coach still, right? He's obviously got ideas and some talent. Like, he genuinely got a tune out of us in the championship at the end of the season. That being said, he left us with a flabby, unbalanced squad and no discernible style of football.
I'm a bit surprised by that, Dan. I'm not going to lie. Listen, it's not a glowing assessment, but it's also a long way from a damning one in some ways. I mean, it did look like he was, let's be fair, a bit of a terrible choice at first for Luton last season. But when they went on that winning run, I think we were looking over our shoulder a bit, and everything seemed to click. So, Dan, you've also been getting some feedback from a Wycombe fan who we both actually know.
Yeah, I think the Wycombe fan was secretly delighted to be invited onto a podcast to talk about a bigger club up from just up the road. This is our old colleague, Tim Peach. He's a huge Wycombe fan, and understandably, he is glowing in his assessment of Matt Bloomfield.
First thoughts when we heard that Bloomfield was going to Oxford, I think most Wycombe fans were just really pleased for him. He is a great of Wycombe. He is a Wycombe legend. He's played over 500 times for the club. He's coached us, got us playing playing the best football I have ever seen us play. So most people are just really pleased from that. I think there is a slight sadness that he's gone to a team who we've got a bit of rivalry with, but I think most people can look past that and will want him to do well. I think perhaps for people who haven't seen, followed Wycombe closely, they might wonder whether he is sort of an Ainsworth protege. What I'd say is that, yes, he certainly spent a lot of time under Gareth Ainsworth, and Ainsworth talked about Bloomfield's leadership. He called him one of his generals. He had these generals that, Joe Jacobson and Bio Akinfenwa and Matt Bloomfield, these leaders on and off the pitch. In fact, when Ainsworth gave his team talk at Wembley in 2020 in the playoff final, I'm sure it's a game that you remember very well, he said to the team, I want you to close your eyes and imagine winning this for Matt Bloomfield. Imagine Matt Bloomfield lifting the trophy. And I think that tells you a lot about the standing he had in the club as a player, as a captain, that is the thing that motivated players that day. So he's a leader, he was a captain, and he turned into a brilliant manager. And he got Wycombe playing, without doubt, the best football I have ever seen Wycombe play in 35 years of supporting them. We played fast-flowing, attacking football. The greatest performance I have ever seen for Wycombe was last year when we went to Stockport away and we won 5-0. against a good Stockport team. We were 3-0 up after 18 minutes. It could have been 5. We played free, fast-flowing football. But I think generally Wycombe fans just wish him really well. He is a brilliant bloke. He is passionate. He cares about football. He cares about people. And, I think we gave him time at Wycombe and it really worked. That first season that he was there with us, we had a habit of conceding late goals early on in his time. I think for about we had a run of about 6 or 7 games in which we conceded 5 or 6 goals after 90 minutes. But the season afterwards was that season that he got us to the top of the league. So, look, we'll be wishing him well, apart from when maybe you're playing against Wycombe next year in whatever division it might be.
Yeah, glowing, of course. And that gets me a bit excited, Dan. I'm not going to lie. Seems like a good guy, as I was saying. Right, we're into the second half of the season. We got a new manager. What are your hopes and dreams for the next kind of few months?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm just hopeful that we finish the season in a better shape than we are now. Right, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to stay up. I think it's the odds are stacked against us for staying up. Right, there's some, the teams around us seem to have like bigger and better squads and so on. That's not to say we're definitely doomed. I'm not writing off the season at all. But what I don't want is at the end of the season, if we do go down, for there to be like fans saying, "Oh, we're a bigger club. We need a bigger and better manager." I want to see by the end of the season a bit of improvement. If I see some improvement, if I see a bit more attacking football, and I see a plan formulating, I will be happy. What I thought with Rowett towards the end was he had lost a little bit of his hunger, Matt. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it just seemed to me that he didn't quite have the appetite probably the appetite you need to make things happen. Right, when he came in last season, like he was motivated, the players were motivated, and I think that contributed massively to us staying up. And I want to see that. I want to see that at the end of this season. If we've at least given it a really, really good shot, if like the fans are on board, the players are clearly on board. That's what I want to see. And I don't want to sack another manager at the end of the season. I really, really don't. We've had too many managers over a short space of time. Listening to Carl Robinson the other day on Radio Oxford, I don't know if he was actually quite good fun.
He was.
And quite an engaging kind of character, which I guess he always was. I've always kind of thought he was a little bit David Brentish.
Yeah, there is an element of that, yeah.
But you good, absolutely good fun in kind of small measures, I think.
Yeah.
But he said, God, how many managers have you had since I left? Because, when he was there, we'd had like nothing but stability for a number of years before that. And we've had absolutely loads, and we can't afford to become that club. We have to start building properly again. So if we do go down, as long as there is improvement, I will be happy.
Yeah, you're right. Hopefully this is one for a bit more of the long term. And what I quite like, just to finish this off, is he's got a good solid week of the players with no quick game turnaround. So we've got a week in the training ground, you hope, and then we've got 2 home games. We've got Bristol City and then we've got QPR. So which on paper, you'd say hopefully get some points out of those. So fingers crossed, exciting times. Let's see how things are in a month or so.
Matt, it has been, believe it or not, 1 year since we nervously recorded Season 1, Episode 1 back in January 2025. What a year it has been.
Mate, what a year it has been. We can now actually say we've got a body of work behind us. It's pretty incredible. It's been a hell of a ride. I mean, you obviously do a lot more work than I do in terms of putting it all together. But it's been great engaging with people on social media, meeting fans at the ground, and people generally coming up and going, "Oh, I'm actually really enjoying it." So it's been a hell of a ride. And yeah, it's been fun, Dan, hasn't it?
It has been fun. It's been really great, because we worked together, and then just life took us apart. Can you remember which game it was? We kind of first got back together, as it were. Was it Leighton? couple of seasons
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah,
Straight
maybe.
after Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't seen each
Yeah.
other in a while, and we met up and we had a few
Yeah, it's
beers.
nice.
And from that, this beautiful friendship has re-emerged, and from that, the podcast has happened. Right, I've got some stats for you, Matt. Get this: in 1 year, we've had 29 episodes, more than one a fortnight. Matt, we've had over 30,000 views and listens to our podcast in that time, and on our social videos, we've had over 200,000 views. Something else, and we've also got one very happy sponsor.
Man, when you throw those numbers out there, very impressive. Very happy, and long may it continue, and long may we continue to grow.
And Matt, to celebrate our birthday and to celebrate your avid listenership to our podcast, I've set you a short quiz to see how much you remember about those 29 episodes. Questions now, answers as always at the very end of the pod. You ready? Have you got a pen? Do you want to write these?
This seems maybe a bit more of a pointed go at me. rather than...
Not at all. It's
No.
for our listeners.
Let's give it a go, because as you well know, Dan, my brain is like a sieve. But let's give it a go. Go on then.
Go on then. All right. We, as you know, Matt, we have a lot of footage and archive to our video versions of the podcast. What, Matt, was the very first goal we actually showed on our YouTube podcast? And
Okay.
I'll give you a clue. It was something you were talking about nostalgically.
It was something I was talking about nostalgically in the first episode.
Very first episode.
Oh, is it?
Mm.
I've got. All right. Is it a
Answers
Joey
at the
Beauchamp
end.
goal or a Paul Moody goal? Let me think. Okay, next.
Nice easy one for you here. We were sent Mark Rule's wonder goal, and we played it to him just a couple of episodes ago. But who did he score that goal against?
Okay, I think I know this one. I should know this one. Just it was fairly recent. All right, next.
I will be surprised if you can remember this. I had to look this one up myself. Way back in Series 1, Andrew Dawson came onto the show to talk about a song that Oxford United had recorded in 1996. What was the name of that song? And can you remember the band?
Can I remember the band?
I'll give the band's a bonus point.
Okay, next.
I'll give you a clue. It's similar to the name of our podcast.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, question 4, Matt. The commentary from Nathan that we use in our title music. What
Okay.
goal was he commentating on?
Okay, I'll have a stab at that.
I mean, that's not really about this podcast, but that's just,
No, it's
a nice
a
bit of
good
trivia.
question though. It's a good question.
Question 5. Our guest Simon Watts told a hilarious anecdote back in episode 7 of series 2. His dad earned money for which home improvement and how?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've got that. Yep.
And finally, who was the very first player mentioned in our podcast?
Oh, it could be one of a couple. I mean, it could be our favourite, couldn't it? All right, thank you. I've written down those. I think I've got a good stab at a couple of them. 3, I think I'm just going to have to absolutely guess. All right.
Some of them I'll be surprised if you get. I'm not going to lie. I will give the answers, Matt, later in the show. Matt, just one game to reflect on, the FA Cup tie at MK Dons. I had to listen to this. You know what? It sounded scrappy, but I love an FA Cup win, and I loved our 2 new signings as well. Go on.
Oh, it's great to be in. It's great to be in the hat for the 4th round, isn't it? It's just a nice feeling. It's nice to get it out of the way on a Friday as well, and just see all the other clubs kind of scrap over the weekend. So, all in all, job done. I think I'm going to quote one of our new signings who said on his Instagram post, excited to be part of this great club. Wasn't pretty tonight, but job done. And I think that kind of sums it up. I mean, it wasn't a classic, was it? I was dipping in and out of it. I couldn't venture up to MK because I was working on Friday. So I was doing a mixture of scrolling on the BBC Sport website, listening to Carl Robinson spout absolute nonsense and laughing at him from time to time, whilst also watching TV with the family. But, good signs, I think. Miles Peart-Harris seems like a decent signing, doesn't he?
So nice when you get a player we've actually heard of. Like, I think I even saw him on Match of the Day a couple of weeks ago.
I know. Well, exactly. I mean, so that's exciting. And then we've got the lad, Jamie Donnelly, obviously. I mean, welcome to Oxford United, an absolute cruncher and obviously taken off. But I'll be honest, I've not seen lots of him. He scored that wonder goal, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember, and I was like, oh, it's him. And obviously I've again, heard really positive things. I guess time will tell to see if he is, proper kind of championship level player. But, the business we've done so far, it's great. And then we're into the fourth round of the FA Cup. So that's all good too.
And we're recording this well before the draw has been made. But let's face it, we're going to get Macclesfield away. Seriously, Matt, who do you fancy and why?
I would quite like a home tie in the fourth round against a club below us, thinking that, that'll stand us in good stead. I'd quite like a bit of a run this year. And then with the idea that in the fifth round we get a nice Premier League away tie. That's what I quite like. What about you?
I mean, that's the dream scenario. To be honest, I'd settle right now for a kind of a nice lucrative tie against one of the big teams. I was listening to Tim Williams on the Price of Football podcast the other day, and he talked about how when he was at Manchester United, he had to sign a cheque to Exeter City for over £1 million just for one tie. We can't turn that money down. I know we've got really rich owners, but the kind of the financial fair play thing means, any money that comes in, is money we can spend.
That'd be nice.
So, yeah, I mean, it'd be lovely to get a nice tie. I mean, I would love to go to one of the grounds I've not been to. I really fancied Everton, actually, but they have been knocked out. So it's not going to be Everton.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. A ground. I mean, I've never been to Anfield, and I would love to go there. But anyway.
We haven't played Liverpool, Matt, since 1987. They're the team that we've played least recently of any team that we've played.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Before that, Matt, we had the Sheffield fiasco, and it was a bloody fiasco. I was really angry about this. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but for the game to be called off just like an hour or so before kickoff for a frozen pitch at a ground that does have undersoil heating, and the rumour is that they put it on too late. Something fishy has gone on there, Matt. My Sheffield United supporting friend Chris tells me they have a number of players injured at the moment, and Wilder had been saying how knackered his team were after the whole Christmas schedule. It stinks to me. It really does stink.
It did seem weird, didn't it? And also the fact that it was a midday kickoff as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I know modern football is modern football, but also I was thinking, okay, everyone's travelled up there. They called it off, an hour and a half before kickoff? Everyone's travelled up there. The teams are there. Why not delay the kickoff by an hour
100%.
or two?
100%. I mean, it was due to be televised, wasn't it? But, I mean, common sense has got to prevail there. I know that Sky couldn't show it at 3:00. Oh, no, they could do, because it's not a Saturday afternoon. So, yeah, no reason whatsoever.
Fishy.
And really disappointing for the fans who'd, gone up there.
100%.
Yeah, really, really cross about that.
Dan, we love a bit of nostalgic Oxford United action, don't we?
We do indeed, Matt. And so it seems does our audience. If only there was a way of reliving those glory days of the 1980s and early 90s again.
If only there was a way, Dan, you're right.
Wait, Matt, what's that Nutmeg logo down there? What's Nutmeg again?
Very good shout. It's a nostalgic football management game, Dan, actually. It's coming out in March, and it allows you to manage teams and players from the 1980s and 1990s. So it's right up our street. It's right up the street of our listeners and viewers.
It sounds amazing. I'm going to get onto Steam and wishlist that right up.
Full steam ahead.
Steam me up, Scotty. Anyway, sometimes, Matt, I like to go back onto YouTube and watch old games. But when I'm doing that, I think sometimes, my God, it looks such a different sport to the one we watch now.
I love a YouTube, going down the YouTube rabbit hole. And you're right, some of the old footage is incredible. The pitches, Dan. are incredible. The tackles, wild. Yeah, I love it too.
On YouTube, there's a whole heap of old games from our glory years. It's a real surprising amount given how little football is actually covered on TV back then. One of the games that fascinates me most is from 1985, our first season in the top division. And relatively early on that season, we faced giants Liverpool, who would end up as champions that season.
Dan, I've seen the lovely video that you made for our socials. Listeners, viewers, if you've not seen it, please check it out. Done a cracking job again of highlighting this game. It's on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook pages. It's a cracker.
It is a belter. In that video, I asked the question: was 1980s football rubbish? And I kind of conclude that it wasn't rubbish. And I don't think it was rubbish, but I don't really get a chance to go into any detail. But Matt, I thought it'd be quite an interesting discussion point. Was 1980s football rubbish, or was it just hugely different?
Well, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It was just hugely different, wasn't it? And I think the thing with modern football now is that everyone's a bit of a robot, right? So everyone's super fit. You've got these amazing, training academies and, data and analytics. There was none of that back in the day. So it was a lot more down to raw talent, wasn't it? And let's be honest, everyone was kind of unfit and the pitches were rubbish. The tackles were insane. So what I would say is back in the day, it was a lot more about talent. If you think someone like Kevin Brock, right? He was doing all this, incredibly skillful stuff on these pitches with people flying into them. So in some ways, I think football was better in the 80s because of that. It was all down to talent. Now everyone's so robotic. Everyone's on the same level. Everyone's as fit as each other. So, everyone comes on for a 30-minute cameo and this kind of thing. So there was a lot more raw talent. And what that meant was there was a lot more of these incredible performances, be it, and I mentioned Kevin Brock there, but be it, you had these mavericks like George Best or Frank Worthington or whoever. So yeah, that's my view on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the other massive difference we have now, I mean, obviously so many differences, you rightly touched on, everything, the training, the pitches, the rules have changed obviously as well. We had the back pass rule then, obviously. So, you could just whack the ball back to the goalie and you'll be able to pick it up and hold it forever. But you also had like totally different levels of protection for the players we have now compared to in the old days. I mean, the video that I've put on our socials is totally wild. The two.
Can we talk about the Truick tackle? I'm not even sure if we call it a tackle. Karate kick. It's insane.
A karate kick on poor Ronnie Whelan's head, and it wasn't even booking. It wasn't no booking at the end of it.
And the Gary Briggs tackle on, I've forgotten who it's on. It makes you wince when you watch it.
And I think everyone would agree it's probably better that these things are in place. The back pass rule has definitely improved football. I like players being, especially good players, being given a chance to play without having their career ended by some lunatic. But I think the other thing that's really changed, Matt, is the TV coverage. Like, the match that I've shown there, Oxford against Liverpool, is covered by a single camera, just a bloke who's turned up at the ground and filmed it, and probably sold it in the club shop afterwards. Yeah. Whereas these days you have cameras all around the ground. You get big close-ups of the action. You can see the players' faces. You can see the skills that they do. If someone does a fancy trick, it gets shown on TikTok, a million times, and all the kids get excited about the nutmeg or the techers or whatever. So I think that has changed our perception of football as well, because we can see the skills a whole lot more closely. We see the super slow-mos of the guys dribbling and so on. You go, oh, that's amazing. Whereas in the old days, a lot of that just wasn't seen.
Yeah. Makes it a bit more boring though, doesn't it? It's like we know too much now. It's like with the VAR, we're talking about freaking, toenails and, and elbows just being like, just, at the end of the day, football's just about a ball and trying to get it in the opposite goal. So yeah, maybe I'm a bit of a dinosaur and but I love watching those old YouTube videos and those muddy, those rubbish pitches and those tough tackles and all that. but maybe it's, something in the middle.
If you haven't seen our little video, it's on TikTok and it's on YouTube Shorts, and it's absolutely blowing up at the minute, and loads and loads and loads of people commenting on it. So do take a look and tell us what you think. Was football better now or then?
Right, it's time for our regular statistics section, and of course that means our man with his finger on the throbbing pulse of XG is here, the man like Theo. You clearly have far too much time on your hands, Theo. You've been digging into AI to find out what it knows about football tactics, and in particular, Oxford United. What have you found out?
Well, just to save a little bit of dignity, there is some context behind this conversation. And it started when there was a joke rumour that went round on the forum that Craig Short would have the job until the end of the season. And given that he admits that he's not the most tactically astute coach, it was suggested he could learn a thing or two from ChatGTP. So having now asked ChatGPT how to beat us if I was the Bristol City manager, I'm wondering how many managers around the country are spending their Sundays draining the world's water resources to give themselves the basis of their tactical approach for the next game. For Bristol City, it highlights four, it calls it principles. They should weather the first 15 minutes, invite us into their block, because we'll try to press aggressively and we'll feed off the crowd energy, having had a new manager in place. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
They should control the midfield, slow the tempo, be compact, screen BDK, and only step out on specific triggers, which actually sort of feeds into the passing stats from the last pod where we just let us have the ball and we won't do anything with it. It does highlight Joe Williams as a key player here, which is its first failing, as Joe Williams, I don't think, has played since August. But, but it's due back in mid-Jan, so maybe AI knows something and he'll be in the starting 11 next week. It says that Bristol City should target our right side because our fullbacks may push high early in the game and leave gaps. Mehmeti to hold the width and then have the fullback overlap. Quick diagonal switches once Oxford overcommit. And the final one is transitions are the kill zone. That sounds a bit over the top. Oxford's worst moments are when losing second balls and the fullbacks are advanced. I think I would question how often our fullbacks are actually that advanced. That probably, I think this sort of sums up AI quite well. It's like, it sort of sounds clever, but there are obviously some very key points that aren't that accurate. One thing though, it absolutely nails, I have to say, is how to deal with Shemi. Just gave me 4 words: delay, don't dive in.
Fair.
Lovely stuff, Theo. So what does ChatGTP say about broom ball, as we're going to be calling it now?
Yeah, so I just asked it quick strengths and weaknesses of Matt Bloomfield based on his previous managerial stints. It suggests the strengths will be attacking threat and goal scoring, which would be rather exciting given what we've watched over the last years. Apparently we'll have a clear tactical identity and purpose, which also I think we can all agree we haven't really had for probably since Des. Worth ethic and team cohesion, which I think we're already fairly strong on. I think there's quite a lot of positives in that sense in our team. And improvement over time, which is obviously a good thing, but we haven't got a huge amount of time. And that links perfectly to the weaknesses, which is slow starts, which we really can't have a slow start. Mixed results at higher level, which obviously is highlighting his spell at Luton there. There's some analysis apparently around tactical experiments, i.e. wing-backs without ideal personnel, which we've already seen quite a lot this season. And there's high dependence on recruitment. I mean, that, of course there is. That's the same at every football club. So some good. It'd be nice if we'd had an attacking threat and an identity, but we could really do without the slow start.
I know, it's exactly that. We need to hit the ground running, or he needs to hit the ground running. How does AI then think we can win our next game against Bristol City?
So I think this was its poorest response by quite some way. But then I was thinking, well, maybe we've barely had much of a plan or a consistent way of winning games all season, so maybe it didn't have much to go on. It summed up the game plan as: we have to be defensively disciplined with a compact shape. We need to counterattack quickly and effectively, win the midfield duels, take set pieces seriously, and be clinical with limited chances. I mean, I think anyone could have written that, let's be honest.
Does that mean Scott giving the ball to Will Vaulks to lob it in?
Yeah, but it's not particularly specific to Oxford United, any of that, but never mind.
Lovely stuff, as always. Thanks, Theo. Theo, are you able to hang around quickly just to referee a John Narbett game?
Always.
It's a biggie.
The John Narbett game with Nutmeg.
So by this time, I think everyone knows the gist of the John Narbett game. This week, we're going to go for the season 1984-85, which I'd like to point out was before I was born. So I could probably do about 2 here.
Dan
Matt,
was about 20.
Matt,
Sorry.
you're the challenger, so
Okay.
you get to choose whether you go first or second.
I will go first. I will go first.
And please, can you also write down the name of the player you think the other person will say?
Okay, give me a sec. Okay, good to go.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Matt.
I am going to kick off with Billy Hamilton.
I'm going to say Mark Jones.
Okay. I am next going to go to Kevin Brock.
Can you write that one down?
Were you?
I am going to go Gary Briggs.
Oh, I was going to write him down as well. Okay. I am going to go next, Steve Hardwick. No. It was always going to come down to who we'd written down. And I just didn't think you'd have Hardwick down for some reason. I know you love
Theo
a
knows
keeper
my
for this.
tactics.
I know, but I just thought it's too obvious.
Triple bluffed you this time.
You triple bluff me. I have a little guess who I have.
John Aldridge.
No, John Truick. So
I was going to say Truick.
Were
Truick's
you? Fair. So, Dan, that's another win for you, lads. So you are
For the
flying at
younger
moment.
listeners and me, was he the goalie, Dan?
He was indeed, yeah.
Okay, I'm keeping this noted for next time I play against you.
Yeah. Dan, you're a one-trick pony. You're just like, you're Route 1.
Have you just read that on AI?
Of course, one thing we've not talked about yet, Dan, is the video of our former chairman, Tiger, who accidentally leaked out on his Instagram, appearing to show all of our transfer targets for this transfer window, which was not a great move.
It's quite funny, wasn't it? Honestly, it looked like quite an embarrassment for the club, but it wasn't totally clear who all the players were. So, Matt, I have put it through a clever video editing AI filter.
Oh, nice.
And was quite surprised with what came out. Let me play it for you.
His name is
Colin Greenall.
Oh yes ไหนดู this one
สอนหลานดูนักฟุตบอลแล้วเนี่ย
This one is
John Narbett again.
Dan, that is remarkable. I mean, amazing that Tiger is like us, also talking about John Narbett and Colin Greenall. That doesn't look so much like Oxford's transfer target, so it looks more like our wish list for guests this year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I've got no idea how he got hold of that. It's quite an embarrassing leak for us there, Matt.
And for the Behind the Badge podcast, because they'll be interviewing the same people a few months later.
You meanie. I think this section is definitely one to take a look at in our video version, listeners. So do take a look on YouTube or Facebook. Leave a comment on our YouTube page if you think you can work out who all of those people are.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I
good
wish-
game. Good game.
Matt, on the subject of guests, we're hoping to have an absolute Oxford United A-lister on the next episode. Shall we give the audience just a little clue?
I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, go on then, Dan. Although we don't want to jinx it, of course, because we've had a few people pull out before.
We have. I trust this guy. I do trust this guy. I'm going to make the case in the next episode, Matt, this is the clue, that he scored the greatest goal in Oxford United history, according to a hugely scientific formula that I have developed.
Oh, hell of a claim, Dan. But I do know who it is, and I think there's a case certainly to be made for that.
Okay, Matt, we look forward to that. We've packed in, as always, a huge amount into this episode. I guess we need to check your answers to the quiz before we finish.
Yeah.
Oh,
Complete
Matt,
guesswork on a lot of them, I'm not going to lie, but let's give it a little whirl then.
what, Matt, was the very first goal we actually showed on our YouTube podcast?
At first, I thought maybe it was Paul Moody v Cardiff, but actually, was it Joey at home against Blackpool?
Incorrect. You got Paul Moody was the correct answer, but it was you were telling the story, Matt, of going to watch Paul Moody score at Bradford.
Bradford. Oh,
And what a wonder goal that
what a
was.
wonder goal. One evening that was. Oh, yeah, I enjoyed that. All right, yeah, I should have known that. All right, next.
Okay. Who was Mark Rule's wonder goal against?
Okay, I think I've got this right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Cambridge United.
That is the correct answer.
Okay.
Andrew Dawson played a wonderful Oxford United recorded song from 1996. Can you remember the name of that song?
I mean, straight away my head went to "You Are My Oxford," but then I'm like, well, no, because that's our podcast. But I think it's something like that. I mean, was it as simple as "You Are My Sunshine"?
It was indeed. Matt, you are flying. You do
No.
listen to all. It
Was
was
that
You
right?
Are My Sunshine.
Oh.
Can you remember the name of the band?
Well, I'm going to guess, but was it?
A local band.
Was
A
it?
local
It was either Ride or Arthur Turner's Love Child.
Arthur Turner's Love Child is the correct
Oh my God.
answer. Bonus point. Question 4. The commentary from Nathan that we use in our title music. What was the goal that he was commenting on?
So I was thinking about this, and I always presumed my head always went big man on big occasion was always Cameron Brannigan, but then I've just got a feeling, was it Elliot Moore's header at home against Peterborough?
It was a centre-back. It was a centre-back, but not Elliot Moore.
Go on, tell me.
It was Shay Dunkley's goal against Wickham in
way.
2016, the last day of the season.
Oh wow, I was there for that.
Question 5. Our guest, Simon Watts, told a hilarious anecdote about how his dad earned money for which home improvement and how did he earn that money?
Well, he earned the money, and we were shocked, flabbergasted, and kind of our jaws on the floor
Amused.
from filming a porno. Yeah, so
I've written down an adult movie, but I'll give you it.
Yeah. I was thinking the best way to kind of say that.
And what home improvement did that pay for?
Did it pay for a conservatory?
No.
Oh my God. What
It
was
was
it?
their patio.
Oh,
It was
damn.
the patio. Anecdotally. And finally, Matt, who was the very first player mentioned in our podcast?
I mean, I'm going to take a guess, but surely it must be. Was it John Narbett?
No, well, he didn't appear to about episode 3. Actually.
Oh God, I have no. Oh, let me have another guess then.
It was a player who had just left us literally 5 minutes before we recorded our first episode. So who left last January? Who returned to their
last year.
parents' club? That's probably a better clue for you. He was on TV last night.
Tell me, I can't think.
It was Dane Scarlett. Just as we were about to record our very first episode,
What was he doing on?
looked
What
at
was
the
he doing
Oxford
on
United
TV?
website. He played for
Played?
Tottenham last
Did
night. He came on, yeah.
Oh, he came on.
Lost his dreadlocks.
Wow. Well, that was a bit of fun. How many did I get in the end?
3 or 4.
Three or 4 out of 6. Not too bad. It shows that, Dan, I do listen. But guys, go back and listen. Hopefully that's kind of whet the appetite. But it's been a cracking year. We've had some cracking guests. We've had a lot of laughs. I mean, that Simon Watts episode, if you've not heard it, please go back and listen. Si is a massive Oxford fan. He's also really fantastic at his job. He's a Sky Sports news reporter, so sees a lot of that kind of behind the scenes kind of football life. But he is a funny chap as well, and told us some great stories, including the time his dad filmed an adult movie to pay for the patio. But some, just looking back at the last year, what's some of the highlights that stood out for you, Dom?
Do you know, I've just loved all of it, Matt. I've loved kind of just because we used to go to games together and we just used to chat like this, and I kind of hope that we've turned those chats into a podcast that people are enjoying. I hope that's what's happened.
Yeah. All right.
I hate the fact we're on camera. Like, you're a very handsome man, as people do comment occasionally, but.
Well, let's move on. Enough sentimentality, enough of all this, looking back. Let's look forward. Thanks so much to everyone. We will be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully with a special guest, hopefully after a successful start from our new manager. Hey, Dan.
Let's hope so, Matt. Good seeing you, and see you soon, everyone. Take care.
The big man with a big goal on the big occasion.